It's time for Screen Junkies Movie Fights.
Hoot hoot. Hashtag Owl Nation. Welcome to Movie Fights. Oh my goodness. So, Project Hail Mary has hit theaters, so you knew it would be a matter of time before we started talking about Ryan Gosling's Crabs and the movie. If you haven't seen it, it'll all make sense. Yes, there will be a little bit of spoiler talk today about said Project Hail Mary, so you've been warned. I don't want to hear it. But let us know if you want. Yeah, sound off in the comments about how you feel about spoilers and anything that goes on throughout this day. We've got 3 awesome fighters. We're so lucky to know so many cool people, and a few of them are here to go back and forth about Project Hail Mary, sci-fi, movies, and more. Let's meet the combatants. First off, oh my gosh. You've seen him on The Real Rejects. He's a comic correspondent at DC Studio Showcase, 3-time Hall H host. That's like big deal Comic-Con stuff. And a confirmed lover of all things Morbius. Okay, I knew not everything was positive.
You gotta balance this.
Yeah, there's some questionable stuff with this. Fast-talking, knowledgeable young man, Coy Jandreau, welcome back to the party.
Back where it all started, man. I missed this show. I'm so, this feels like a 20-year high school reunion. I'm so happy to be here.
Doesn't it?
You said hoot hoot, my heart soared.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so did Percival's. There he is.
Man, this is where I started, all the hosting stuff I do. All those things listed, including Morbius, are thanks to you guys.
You know, that's damn good to hear. Coy Jandreau. Thank you, my friend. Next up, he's a man of letters and culture, of theme parks. You can find him writing on IGN, Fandom, and on the We Enjoy podcast, and on his own Culture Pop Substack and YouTube channel. It's Eric Goldman. Eric!
Hello there.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. You know, by the way, I did host 2 panels on Hall H, but now I feel kind of inadequate, so.
Which 2?
Which 2? Supernatural and What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, fancy.
You know what, let's just keep piling them up. That's 5 Hall H
5 Hall H's.
But it is great to be back here, for sure.
So cool. Great to see you, Eric. And finally, critic, commentator, pundit, outlaw. It's not Guy Fawkes, but you know the Guy Fawkes mask. You know him from, all over the internet. Make some noise. You know him from the John Rocha channel, co-host of the Hot Mic podcast, 4-time Schmodown champion, the outlaw, John Rocha.
You said it right. The outlaw's back. You wanted him back, and he's back. That's right. The mask is off. The head is on. Let's get it going. I don't need Hall H to be real. I matter just as much as these guys. God damn it.
Boom.
Let's go. I
Yeah.
love movie fights. I'm glad to be back. Good to see you, Hal. Good to see you, Coy. Good to meet you, Eric. I think we met 8 years ago, but I don't remember. But I'm excited to be back.
lot's
Let's
happened.
have some fun. A lot's happened. There's something called COVID, I think.
Something.
But, it's been a while.
Yes. It feels good to go home again.
Yes.
Got some great friends of the old show and the new. Awesome to have you here. So as we go through, let me talk about a little bit of the rules. These fighters, they're going to clash over 5 rounds of movie fights questions. And the rounds, the questions, the points will be decided by their arguments, rebuttals, their answers, etc. The 2 with the most points at the end of round 5 will move into the speed round, where today's winner will be decided. Listen, fortunes are won and lost in the speed round, baby. And throughout, I'm going to be kicking it over to my main dude. You know him as the head writer of Screen Junkies Honest Trailers, just a knowledgeable movie guy, and a lover of all things cobbler, peach, apple, cherry.
Shoes.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Spencer Gilbert.
Gobble, gobble, Hal. There's a cobbler in the room. I'm all over it.
Oh, yeah. Did somebody say cobbler?
Yeah, me and DDL. We've both been out in the Alps making shoes together. Good to be back.
Spencer, thank you for holding it down over there in the fact-checking. Folks, without further ado, shall we fight?
Fight's on. Come out and fight. Fight. Let them fight.
Round number 1. Okay, right out of the gate, oh, baby. So nice, ding that bell twice. Let's just ask the question that a lot of people are asking. Is Project Hail Mary the best sci-fi movie of the 2020s? And if not, what is? Is Project Hail Mary the best sci-fi movie since 2020? And we will start with Coy Jandreau.
So I think it's important to look at the times one lives in when you're looking back at an entire decade and the experience of movies and how much those movies are going to have an impact, as well as the quality of the film itself. I think not only is the quality of Project Hail Mary the highest level possible, the most experiential time of science fiction, not just because of the fiction, but also because of the science, which is so important in science fiction, but it's also a very important thing in the 2020s. We need hope. We need uplifting cinema. We need things to reflect not just our times, but to inspire us to escape those times without being purely escapism. This movie manages to walk the fine line of being escapism through hope, through perseverance, through science, but also manages to be a beautiful buddy story in a time we're more isolated than ever, in a time where we're more separate from science than ever. This movie uses sci-fi in a way to encourage people to not just dream, but to think smarter, to encourage people to come together, to be better as humans. And I think that movies have a lot of different things to do, but I think a very important one we're missing is to inspire hope. And I love when science fiction can be science-based, have a lot of glorious fiction, but also make you want to be a better person and live a better life. And Project Hail Mary certainly does all that. I think it is the best science fiction movie of the 2020s.
I'm inspired right out of the gate, so Coy says yes, thank you. Eric.
Project Hail Mary is a great movie. Go see it. However, it is not the best science fiction movie of the 2020s. Best science fiction movie of the 2020s is 2022's Prey. That's right, Predator 5. And I think that's the thing about the movie is it transcends the fact that it's Predator 5. Also, yeah, I know, it's not set in space, but science fiction movies don't have to be set in space. Sometimes science fiction comes to you. I think that Prey is just a real remarkable movie as far as taking a concept that we've known and loved since 1987. Maybe we didn't love it every time because there's been a lot of crappy sequels, stripping it down bare and showing a person in the 1700s how they deal with this technology, everything that comes with this alien coming to us, and using that as a great springboard for a real rise of the hero story. And yes, it is about technology versus someone who doesn't have any of that. And there's great science fiction elements with the Predator in that movie, which is also, going back in time. So we see it kind of in an earlier form, but still way advanced compared to us. There's spaceships, there's, shoulder cannons, but they work differently. I think it really gets to the core elements of what was already a great science fiction conceit, but really reminds us why it was great in the first place, centered around wonderful characters and a wonderful hero, wonderful villain, and that is why it's my favorite science fiction movie, the best science fiction movie of the 2020s.
Sometimes sci-fi comes to you. Thanks, Eric. John Rocha.
Now that you've listened to my two friends talk about their touchy-feely science fiction movies, let me tell you what the actual best science fiction movie is, and that is Dune Part 2, an incredible film from Denis Villeneuve. Even Steven Spielberg said it is one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. What do these two know over Steven Spielberg? For God's sakes, this is the answer, and I'll tell you why. Because it does exactly what great sci-fi does. It speaks to what's going on in our times. It speaks to the danger of religion, the danger of cult worship, the danger of hero worship, and how you can get caught up in that, and how that destroys faction, destroys peace, destroys what can be a better world, and you see that going on throughout. Plus, it has badass villains. Austin Butler without hair, who knew he was just as good without the Elvis hair as he is with the Elvis? It was amazing to see. But Timothée Chalamet, I know everybody in the opera and ballet hates him now, but Timothée Chalamet was is a hell of an actor and brought it this time around. Plus, the relationship with him and Zendaya, how that progresses throughout the movie, and who could forget Javier Bardem being that Morpheus for his Neo, showing you the dangers of what it's like to worship that and how it can destroy your world.
Let's fight it out. Please fact check whether it's Zendaya or Zendaya.
Nobody knows.
Okay, jump in there. Fight it out, y'all.
I'd say about Dune, the thing about Dune 2 is very well made movie that also stands out as being less boring than the first one, but still kind of boring.
Less boring?
Yeah,
What
there's
are you
still a lot
talking
of
about?
sand, there's a lot of slowness to that movie. I want a movie with some propulsion, something that really moves.
Something that was on streaming? You want to compare that to something that was theatrically shown in IMAX
That's
and
the
70
thing.
millimeter?
Think about a
and
movie
you came on yourself watching it?
that debuts that debuts on streaming, and then the fans are so mad it debuted on streaming because they're saying, wow, this deserves to be on the big screen. This deserves to be
Just
on
like Predator Badlands did, when barely didn't even make its budget back.
Doesn't count. Not part of the same thing.
I would also argue these two incredible pieces of sci-fi are both installments in sci-fi. Mine is an original piece of sci-fi based off a beloved book that actually manages to make what the book does best and even go above it. People that love the book still manage to love this, which is an impossible task. And the ingredients are Spielbergian in its whimsy. It's got Kubrick visuals like 2001. It's got the power of Lord and Miller's heart. It's got the best Ryan Gosling performance, maybe second only to one I'll talk about later. This movie has the greatest sum of all the parts. These are great pieces of franchises. Mine is its own powerful entity.
The problem is The Martian did it better with the same book and a better actor in Matt Damon and what he was able to do in that film than Ryan Gosling did. What Ryan Gosling did in that film is what he's done in a lot of films. He's that walking that line between being the good guy and the smiley guy, but the reluctant hero. We've seen it over and over again. But what you got with Chalamet is him embracing being the hero and what that comes with, and the perils of believing in that your crap doesn't stink, and how that can destroy people believing in you, and how you can lead people astray. Where do we see that happening now? The hero worship of a leader destroying his people, turning on his people, causing division. And it's shot by Greg Fraser, one of the greatest cinematographers ever.
So is Project Hail Mary?
But also Project Hail Mary, there's the Martian, but also it's a little bit Sunshine. So it's like, yeah, it's not IP, but at the same time, story-wise, it's pretty familiar. You know, it is a mixing of stuff.
About familiar,
it's not original if it's based on a book. Let's just
but if it came before Star Wars, I understand in its book form. But if you're going to talk about a sandy, dystopian, post-apocalyptic movie for sci-fi, we've seen a lot of things that Dune inspired, and just because they made the movie better doesn't mean we haven't lived that before. I think comparing it to The Martian is fair as far as Andy Weir, but I think it does it better, and I think Dune does a lot of things better than Star Wars.
You're telling me a Lord and Miller debut film is better than a Denis Villeneuve film that is absolutely that lands at home.
They've done so
Don't
much.
give me that animated stuff. I'm talking about
21
live action
Jump
stuff.
Street.
I'm
What
saying
did you say? 21 Jump Street.
Put respect on Dan Trachtenberg's name. This guy who already had shown, you know, with 10 Cloverfield Lane that he can take something with a title we know and do something completely different. And I think the thing that's really cool about Prey is, yeah, quote unquote, it's a prequel, but also you do not need to have seen the other Predator movies. It's like, yeah, there's a couple little references that are there for the fans, but if you've never seen Predator, you're good.
But I will say this, Prey, a lot of Predator fans turned on Prey, thought it was, they did not like it, spoke about it in their fandoms. Nobody was crapping on Dune Part 2. Nobody's even crapping on Project Hail Mary so far. So I would say yours is the wrong choice already. I don't even know why you're in this
people
conversation,
crapping on Prey, they're not real people.
They're not real people.
No.
I would also say the important thing to look back at when you look at the 2020s, right? We've got an entire scope of film. Do you want to leave a movie feeling happy, or do you want to worry about Lasan Al Gaib going the wrong direction?
I want to walk away from a movie going, this is an Oscar-winning film.
I don't want to watch one of
Part 2
5
was.
or one of 3. I want to watch a movie, and I want that to be something I look back on in 2020s.
But I will agree with you, because I'll say that I left on the high of Naru, having completed her quest, having killed this predator, having proven herself. She lets out the war cry. I have been lucky enough to see Prey theatrically about 5 times. It's like a nice thing with revival screenings here. And the audience always loses it screaming and cheering at that moment.
I did not remember a character's name from Prey. I'm sorry. I enjoyed it.
You did not remember Naru?
And I
You don't
have
have a
no
Funko
idea
Pop of Naru and her dog Sari?
And not a single one of these characters is as compelling as the relationship between Rocky and our character.
I saw that Lethal Weapon. There's nothing new in that film that I hadn't seen before. Dune Part 2 was amazing.
Who's Riggs and who's Murtaugh between Rocky and
It's
Ryland?
pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious who was Riggs and who's Murtaugh in that one. But in Dune Part 2, I mean, this is an absolute cinematic achievement that will endure the test of time. I think Project Hail Mary and Prey will both be well-respected films in the sci-fi community, but Dune Part 2 is something that goes next level. What they talk about, elevating the genre. I know some people hate that term, grow up. Elevating the genre is what it's all about, and Denis Villeneuve takes it all the way. 5 Academy Awards, 1 for Best Sound and Best Visual Effects. We don't know what Project Hail Mary is going to win for, if it wins anything at all, as we saw with Sinners 4 and 16. And him, they don't win anything for a streaming
Let's
show.
head into
Disney
our
greenlit 2 movies off that
closing
sucker.
arguments. We'll start with Coy Jandreau.
My closing argument is how much I love Dune 2, but I think of these movies, it is the most singularly just for sci-fi fans. I think that movie is very good, it is very dense, it is very smart, but it is not an approachable film you just put on casually on a Saturday. It is a movie I adore, but it is a full meal, and if you want that meal, it is a fantastic way to fill yourself up. But if you want to enjoy a movie, if you want to leave uplifted, if you want to believe in hope and science and perseverance and things getting better, which I think we need more now in the 2020s than we ever have, you're going to watch Project Hail Mary, you're going to believe in a bond between people that aren't of the same type. You're going to believe people can overcome. You're not going to judge people for being different like these 2 installments in franchises.
This is my Javier Bardem right now.
Eric.
I think I should win, first of all, just because my movie has a predator with a retractable shield that decapitates a dude. Their movies don't have that.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, and but also really, I do think it does have an amazing hero at the center of it. I was saying earlier, it was a movie that was a streaming movie that should have been forgotten, and instead got Disney to greenlight 2 sequels, sight unseen. Whatever you think about the sequels, we're talking about Prey here. And so I just think that it was really sort of amazing that they kind of stripped things to the core and did it in this sci-fi element. Predator is science fiction mixed with action and horror, but I think this movie really, by showing it be man versus this scientific based creature, it really got to the core of that and what is wrong with, fighting back against that. How she does fight back against that is so impressive.
Thank you, John.
Hal Rudnick, what was the question?
What was the best sci-fi movie of the 2020s?
Thank you. It wasn't what was the best, made me touchy-feely and rub my stomach as I left the theater movie. It was what's the best sci-fi movie. So you can kick Project Hail Mary out of here. You can kick Prey out of here because he didn't get it right. It's woman versus animal in that situation, not man versus animal. This is the one. It elevates it all. And what in those 2 films matches Timothée Chalamet riding that earthworm in Dune Part 2? Nothing does. That alone is its own movie that defeats both of those movies. Look, I love touchy stuff. I love feeling good while I walk out of theater. You know what I like walking out of theater more? Being impressed, being wowed, and saying this is a director that took the medium to a whole new level.
Color me impressed. These were some great arguments and 3 super varied choices here. I loved hearing these arguments. Spencer Gilbert, are we going to love hearing these fact-checking tidbits?
I mean, a fast and furious round, but factually it came back pretty clean.
Woo! All right, thank you, Spencer.
Yeah. I mean, I can give you some tidbits. Coy said we need hope. That came back false. As Eric pointed out, Lord and Miller have made some live-action films, the 21 and 22 Jump Street, although they're famously attached to the Solo movie. And Spielberg did say, regarding Dune 2, that it is one of the most brilliant science fiction films I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Great. What about Zendaya?
Oops.
I'm
going to go Zendaya.
I
think Zendaya, like Seiya Zendaya's name, correct.
Okay, yeah, I think it.
Zendaya.
All right. Sound off in the comments. Okay, so good. These were 3 strong, varied choices. Now, I feel like Coy and Rocha did a great job of just painting how their films were transcendent. Eric, I felt like your argument was just a little bit hamstrung by sticking to like, okay, it was a great genre movie, it was a great Predator movie, it was good sci-fi, but I felt like there was just a little, they made their arguments a little bit bigger. They painted this bigger picture, which kind of, I think, overwhelmed the little movie that could on streaming, Prey. I love that you represented Prey. Great movie. Man versus this sci-fi creature. Yeah, human. How about human?
We're all just on Earth, guys.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it.
But I felt like they painted this more grand picture, an epic film, which kind of started to sway me, and it came down to Coy and Rocha. And, I think Coy got dinged a little bit with the Martian did it better. Then Rocha got dinged with it. Dune 2 dragging a little bit for those who weren't fully on board. We were going back and forth like, the original IP versus a sequel. But at the end of the day, I felt like Coy painted a picture of something that was inspiring and like just a great feeling walking out of the theater. But John had more specific elements and scenes, like you mentioned, Kubrick visuals and other pieces. But John was talking about scenes, the cinematography, and the transcendent feelings and themes within the movie. So just by a smidge, I'm going Rocha on this one with Dune 2.
I'll take it by North.
Great first round.
Oh man.
Break, right?
More than
All right.
as I used to.
Yeah, let's all go take a pee break. No, I'm kidding. We're going forward. We're not peeing. Might have to do it in my seat. Drinking a lot of coffee this morning. All right, round 2.
That was on our side today.
Yes. in honor of Rocky the Alien, what's Sci-Fi's most lovable non-human character? Sci-Fi's most lovable non-human character. Let's start with Eric.
I gotta go with the titular character from a little movie called E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Gotta talk about my man E.T. here. I mean, look, he alone led this movie to be the biggest movie ever when it came out, and I think that is because you did connect to this weird-looking little creature that at first sight you might think, what the hell is that? And then there is so much life to this character, so much love and heart to this character, who speaks a little bit of English, but not a lot. But he doesn't need it. He's not a man of words. He's a man of action. He's a man of heart. He's got a glowing heart, first of all, and that it exudes that warmth out. And that bond we see with him and Elliot and how that really just does transcend. It gets to everyone of all ages watches that movie. They feel that connection. They want to be E.T.'s buddy like Elliot. And in the movie, you see other characters who encounter E.T. slowly but surely. They all kind of fall under the spell of E.T., all different ages. Doesn't matter if you're a little tiny girl or the older teen brother. They all want to protect him because he does have so much love and life to give. And by the way, he causes generational trauma because when you watch it when you're a little kid and he dies for a little while, and it's like the most heartbreaking, awful thing ever. And then he comes back and it's so triumphant. So there's something about E.T. that it's continually, you show it to a kid right now and it'll get them, it'll connect with them.
Goldman phoning home with E.T. Rocha.
Yeah, listen, the answer is R2-D2. That's the one. Everybody loves R2-D2. If you're a Star Wars fan, you could argue that's the greatest character ever in Star Wars because of how he saves so many people throughout. There's a reason they put the plans in his brain in Force Awakens because they know that's the safest place to put it. No one's going to find him. When he comes to, the franchise comes to life. It's amazing. He's always been a partner for C-3PO, great back and forth, hearkening to Kurosawa, which is great stuff as well, if you remember Hidden Fortress. And he's able to come through in those moments when the humans can't come through, when the humans are caught up with emotions, when the humans are losing their minds, when the humans don't want to hear the odds. It's R2-D2 who goes flying into the fray, no problem, even though he's a guy he's a droid that you could argue has no ability to do these things, but somehow small but mighty, and that's what makes him one of the greatest non-human characters in sci-fi.
R2-D2, Coy.
I went with a more modern character. I went with a character that is the center of an incredible trilogy that's actually the center of an incredible series of 30-plus films. I went with a character that is so endearing and lovable that he's actually the lead of a trilogy that takes till the third trilogy to reframe and recontextualize probably the most important trilogy in the entire MCU. I went with Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon is a character that is so hard to quantify because he is so inherently charming while you are distrusting, while you want to wonder why you love this guy. He's scrappy. There's so many layers to the love. You care so much about this street rat character that you want to dislike because he's doing everything to keep you away. But he's so lovable that even while he's pushing you away, you are so drawn to him. He brings out the best in other characters. I think the best Thor scenes in the entire MCU are between Rocket and Thor in Infinity War and Endgame. I think the moments that have the biggest cinematic pops are between Rocket and Groot. I think the movies that re-corralled the entire MCU are the Guardians films that changed things to go more cosmic and out there. That was a different plan before Guardians, and the Guardians films don't work without Rocket Raccoon. It was the first character I was worried about when they ever announced it. I looked at the slate and I went, oh no, we're finally doing Disney toys. They want a soft plush raccoon. And then I met Rocket and I went, no, they gave us the heart of the MCU. They gave us the most lovable character in sci-fi, and they did it with panache.
All right, no one said porgs. Fight it out, y'all.
Let me tell you something right now, right off the bat. R2-D2, C-3PO, that's what Groot and Rocket are based on. So you go with the OG of what is going on here, and that is absolutely R2-D2 and C-3PO. He saves Han and Leia and Luke from being smashed in the trash compactor. No Han, Luke, or Leia. No Death Star victory. No Empire Strikes Back happens without R2-D2, and that matters. Look, I love E.T. That's very cute. He needs to get saved. He doesn't save anybody unless Elliot's a happier person, whatever. And when you look at Rocket Raccoon, there's a trail of body parts that he has left throughout the universe because he thinks it's fun to pull body parts off handicapped people. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know if you should be a fan of that. R2-D2 helps people. R2-D2 helps people put themselves back together like C-3PO was when he was hanging off the back of the Wookiee.
E.T. doesn't help people. E.T.'s got a healing finger. If you said ouch right now, E.T. would come on up.
I don't want him putting that finger anywhere near me.
He would heal you.
Hey,
right away. And R2-D2, it's like he became like a cheat code for George Lucas. It's like, oh, we need an antenna. Now R2 has that. Oh, we need the lightsaber stored somewhere. Now we can do that.
Deus Ex Droid is a problem with that character. He is literally a Swiss Army knife in a bad way. He rolls up and is a Swiss Army knife. Also, the fact that both of these characters, yes, are classics and yes, are historic. You mentioned C-3PO and R2 being the foundation. I think evolution's important. Just like I think Wally is a better E.T. than E.T. I think that Groot and Rocket are a better C-3PO and R2-D2. I think it's important to look fondly back and then stand on the shoulders of giants and improve on these characters. I think being lovable requires more than one note. I think both of these characters are very one note.
But one note, my man E.T., he's going to dress in a wig. He's going to hide amongst other plushies. He'll get drunk, and then he'll give you a buzz because he's that kind of guy. He wants to help you out. He's a bro.
My dad does all that and guards the galaxy. My guy does all of those things and more because the character of E.T. is beautiful, looks like a scrotum, does a lot of great things, but has a very disconcerting one-note ability to make Elliot seem versatile, and he's not.
I agree. Plus, I could throw a bunch of Reese's Pieces somewhere and get rid of E.T.
No
immediately.
safety net.
There's no safety net, exactly. But with Rocket Raccoon, listen, I get what you want. He's drawing the galaxy, but R2-D2 doesn't need a whole team. He does it himself most of the time. You say one note. There are multiple notes in R2-D2. We've seen it in movies. Yes,
yeah, there are
multiple
like
notes.
5 or 6 notes.
And all those notes mean something, and all those notes are understood by people, and he comes through time and time again for anybody. He delivers the Death Star plans to the rebellion, literally saving them on the Death Star, for God's sakes. Hides and launches Luke's saber on Tatooine in Return of the Jedi. We don't have Luke escaping the barge without R2-D2.
I would never wait a trilogy.
Rocket's caught up trying to fight Chris Hemsworth.
Would never wait a trilogy for R2's origin story because we don't care. The third Guardians of the Galaxy, when we find out just how heartbreaking that journey is, the moment where we get the raccoon acknowledgement, the moment where we see what he's been through, it makes the whole MCU better. R2-D2 is a great Swiss Army knife.
R2-D2 doesn't need emotional trauma to stand up and be a hero. He does not need any of that.
Also, I got to point out here, E.T. 1982 technology takes a speak and spell and a record player, and he can transmit interstellar.
Well, he's an alien. I hope
you
he should
give
be
him
able
an
to do that.
iPhone, he's going to be making
Eric,
some crazy stuff.
Let's parlay this into our final arguments, and let me preface the final arguments with lean into the question states the most lovable non-human character. So make sure you hit that element. Most lovable, not best. Eric.
Look, first of all, I'm going to use Coy's words against him from the last argument and just mention that the fact that these guys have franchises, multiple movies. E.T., there's the one movie, the one perfect movie, and America, nay, the world, made $619 million in 1982. That'd be like $2 billion today. It's because everyone loved E.T. at his core, his element. He is just such a great character. There is something, and you see that in the movie. Other characters that we're talking about here, like Rocket, it takes a while for people to warm up to them, and then they'll grow throughout the series. That's great. But E.T., he comes fully formed. He has so much love and heart, and you see that exuded. He helps people. He does help them both psychologically, but also physically. He brings kids on bikes into the air, and that's an amazing thing for them to remember.
That seems dangerous to me, but all right.
Not with E.T., because he is damn safe the entire time. He is an incredibly lovable character, nay, the most lovable sci-fi character.
Thank you, Eric. Rocha.
You say lovable R2-D2, where else? You just stop right there, right? People love his moments. He's great comic relief. When he comes through, yes, Deus Ex Machina, droid, whatever you want to say. It's amazing what he does because he does save so many people throughout the movies there in Star Wars. And he's lovable because of that. His back and forth with C-3PO is what makes him lovable. His love for Luke, his saving of Luke. Luke, as I said, doesn't get off the barge. Also, in The Phantom Menace, when they're leaving Naboo, he repairs the hyperdrives, or else Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon would have been dead without it. Those are the things that make someone lovable. Not only are they useful, not only are they smart, but they care about the people that they're with. R2-D2 is always caring about the people that he's with. That's what makes him lovable. And he crosses over all fandom, male, female, whatever, however you identify, they all love R2-D2. Arguably the greatest character in Star Wars. That's what makes him lovable.
Thank you, Outlaw John Rocha. Coy.
I think lovability is a very important part of what makes Rocket so interesting and special because it's not inherent, it is earned. It's something that everyone wants. It's something that he doesn't give easily. I like animals that there is a lovability that feels like it's reciprocated after a moment. I could have a pet rock. I could have a droid that I could hug and it'd be cold. I could have a thing I could hug and it'd be slimy and weird. But when you hug Rocket Raccoon, it's the love that you've earned between something that could just be a silly stuffed animal or something that could be an actual living, intelligent creature.
Unless he wants your body part. unless you want
The conversation of love is reciprocated. There's an actual dialogue, and that is a real full love. And I want lovability to not just be surface. I don't want a pet rock. I want a pet raccoon. I want it to be Rocket Raccoon.
Time. All right. Wow, 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 wow. We have a true like alien-like creature. We have a robot. We have a raccoon. 3 very different characters, different films. Whoa, I'm still thinking. Spencer, anything from that round? Any fact checks?
Another clean round, factually. Just to add to Eric's point, inflation-adjusted box office for E.T. would be between $1.1 and $1.3 billion in today's bucks. And Rocha mentioned, maybe figuratively, that E.T. and Rocket are based on R2-D2. Rocket is based on the Beatles song Rocket Raccoon. Yes. And,
I did not say Rocket. I said.
And E.T. is based on an imaginary friend Spielberg created after his parents' divorce.
Spielberg, who loved Dune too.
That's Spielberg.
And you can learn about that divorce in The Fabelmans.
Where E.T. is from.
Okay. You can also learn about finding cinema magic. Another great round, y'all. I was torn back and forth. I was like a ping pong ball in a dryer, all over the place. But at the end of the day, listen. R2-D2, lovable, but I feel like he became kind of a catch-all. I like that Deus Ex droid. Also, I can't take this away because no one really dinged you with it, but I'm like, okay, then they became tired of him and brought in BB-8, and it's just like the cute thing of the month. Now there's Grogu.
We don't talk about Kathleen Kennedy anymore.
But you made some cogent points. But E.T., you talk about the heart and the bond. But they hit you with him being a little one note, and Coy took us on a journey, and it reminded me, like, we came a long way with Rocket, and like, if you weren't feeling a little emotional watching Rocket in Guardians 3?
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me, that whole dialogue, as you put it, with that character, and the full dialogue. And that just made, because I cared about that character in that last movie, and we'd been through so much with him. So Coy got me in the end, so point Coy. Yeah.
Tough to fight Rocket.
So intense.
Tough to fight Rocket.
It's been so many years, I forgot that. I'm like, oh, but I'm sitting.
But great arguments, great choices there. Round 3. Anybody?
Our bell guy's asleep.
All right, be nice to the bell guy. Okay. What's Ryan Gosling's best performance? There it is. John Rocha.
Yeah. The answer is Drive, and there is no other answer. Let me just end the fight right now. Ryan Gosling delivers one of the greatest performances of his career in Drive because he doesn't rely on the Gosling things, the snide jokes, the little moments of humor throughout his movies. No, he goes deep and dark in this movie. This is a performance of an actor that is showing you levels, complexity, and dare I say it, and I never use this word anymore, gravitas, in this performance here as the driver in Drive. And
you said you weren't going to say gravitas.
Take away a point.
Wait, he played the driver in Drive?
the driver in Drive. Yeah, the connections that he has throughout the movie, and we are so caught up in this journey. It's a quietly superhero movie about whether he is a superhero or not. It's a journey of self-discovery throughout this movie, and that requires more of you, an actor, to pay attention and really dive into this character, because he's not an easy, likable character. He is a criminal, but he thinks he's got more to offer, and his relationship with Carey Mulligan and with the young kid, with Benicio, is very touching, and it includes one of the greatest elevator fight scenes this side of Civil War in that movie as well. And by the end, you're left with this feeling of cheering for a guy who is a criminal, even though you know he's done terrible things. You want him to find his superhero within himself.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Round to Coy.
One of my favorite characters in cinema, who reminds me of another of my favorite characters in cinema. I think not only is Ryan Gosling's best performance Ken, but it is this generation's Tyler Durden. I think Ken is an incredible character that makes men look at who they are and makes them decide, is the thing they've thought they've wanted their whole lives actually what they want. I think it's one of the most reflective and introspective characters ever made. I think it's a character that makes you go on an arc yourself as the character goes on an arc. It is a character that could have been so one note and so easily made the movie not work. This is a film called Barbie, and Ken, when he is on screen, is able to elevate the entire universe. Ken is someone that you are drawn to for the comedy. He's doing work like verbal comedy, mime work in his comedy, physicality in his comedy. He sings. This is almost like a golden age of Hollywood performance, and it's doing that while walking the fine meta-modernist line of sincere irony and ironic sincerity. Ken is a masterclass in what comedy can be when you fully trust yourself, when you've articulated everything from the comedy of the nice guys, through the depth and sincerity of Lars and the Real Girl, through the awareness of a good writer and a good director in Greta Gerwig. What you get is the best performance, I think, of the 2020s, and that is Ken.
He's just Ken. Eric.
I am going with culmination here because it's all about Grace and Project Hail Mary for me, because we've had two Ryan Goslings for a lot of years, a great dramatic actor, and then we've gotten our sort of silliest, lovable hunk with the nice guys version and the Ken version, and he's been great at both of them. But I think in Project Hail Mary, it's all roads lead to this. This is the megazord of performances for him because he's getting to use it all. He's getting to do physical comedy and fall and be funny and silly and let out shrieks. But then he has very introspective, lessons he learned on Drive, but he's using them even more here because a lot of this movie is this dude by himself. Or with a rock spider, but a lot of it is also him by himself. And we see it goes from comedy to deeply sad, and we see that emotion through, and he gets to play so much, sometimes silently. And these moments where he's like thinking on what his situation is and how terrible it is, and when he's thinking about the crew he lost, and he is selling us on so much in those moments, and then also making us laugh, and also having a great on-screen rapport with the Spider Rock. It is just so impressive because he's taking everything he's learned, basically over the last 20 years, 30 years, he was young Hercules, and he's kind of putting it all into this one role.
Fight it out, y'all.
I know, Project Hail Mary.
By the way, no one said Mickey Mouse Club.
I mean, I mentioned
movie
young
fights.
Hercules.
It's not TV fights.
I mentioned young Hercules. What do you want?
Or Gangster Squad. How do we leave that out? But
Oh, all right, mix it up.
Yeah, listen. I love what you're saying. It's very sweet. It's very nice. It's not true. Ryan Gosling does every what you've seen in Project Hail Mary, you've seen him do in 35 other films. Drive is singularly unique in what he is able to do, and it was the change in his course of his career. It finally showed you that this was an actor of weight and of power that you needed to pay attention to. Beyond him being the goofy guy in Remember the Titans and other things that he was in, this is something that turns the corner for him. He's not playing second fiddle to Russell Crowe. He's not sitting around playing second fiddle to Rocky. He is the lead of the movie and driving this thing forward, and it's an amazing performance.
I think Drive's an incredible performance that I think led
There
to
you go.
an
End of
incredible
fight.
chapter
End of fight.
in his journey, but I do think it is the beginning of a chapter, right? I think it's the Charmander to Only God Forgives is Charmeleon to what I think is the Charizard of that, which is Blade Runner 2049.
Clip that. Okay, that's...
I think he learned I think he learned that incredible stoic take in himself with Drive, but he evolved it into adding the existential dread of Blade Runner 2049, which is an incredible performance that Drive got started with, but that's not his best performance. That's the beginning. That's the seed. I think what he does in Hail Mary is an incredible performance that is akin to other things he's done before. I have to agree with Rocha here. I'd seen that, whereas I've never seen anyone do what he does with Ken in a performance that feels naturalized, real, and actually accomplished. He's doing Will Ferrell level comedy in a Will Ferrell movie, but making it grounded and real, and he's doing it in a Technicolor dream world that causes pop culture phenomenons. We've talked box office and a few other things. This caused Barbenheimer. This was $1 billion success. This song was played at the Oscars. He is just Ken.
But I will say something. You said something funny. You said this is 35 other roles we've seen before. That's what I think is so impressive. It's 35 roles we've seen before. They're all varied, all put into one. But it's not just a remix. I don't think he's just doing what he's done before, because he's also showing these new sides to himself with this sort of introspection is one thing with Drive, but the character in Project Hail Mary, he is really thinking, I've got nowhere to go. Literally, I'm stuck out in space. There's no hope for me. I don't even know how I am here. He is showing sort of a guy who is at wit's end in a very different way. And yes, he gets to show the comedy that he's shown before and use that, but he layers it in. That's what's so great about Grace, is that he's going through a very, very unique situation.
He has to be drugged and thrown onto a spaceship in order to be a hero. That's not what's going on in Drive. He is actively trying to find out if he is a hero, shed the crimes of the past to try to embrace a reinvention reinvention and be a new person. He is only reluctantly reinventing himself in Project Hail Mary.
Doesn't that
I'll
make
give
it
you
all the
more
more
credit.
impressive
I'll give
to
Ken more
see
credit because he's actually
gets past that
different.
reluctance.
Very
much
different, but
involving himself in that
I would
way.
also argue that when you look at either of these two films, they are remarkable for the tone both of these films capture. But there is no standout, oh my God, what a performance. And this is talking about the best Ryan Gosling performance. I think Ken is singular in its performance nature, whereas Drive evolves into something, whereas Hail Mary is a culmination. I think the culmination, in fact, does dilute a little bit because we've seen things leading up to that. I had never seen anything like Ken.
So you need the bright colors, I get it. You need the song and dance and the pink. But that's the thing about Project Hail Mary is this, he doesn't
It's
have
a
any
Barbie
time.
movie. What color do you want it to be?
It's just him on camera here. And
It's him in space with Rocky, with beautiful visuals. It's just as vibrant
But
as
there
Barbie
is
with a
also,
different
there are
tonality.
moments in the movie that's just close-ups of him and showing what he's going through. And I love the reluctance because that's what makes the whole journey so interesting, where he starts out from. He doesn't want to get on that shit.
I think men need Ken. I don't think men need to be abusive, violent drivers, nor do I think that reluctant astronauts is more
I'd
likely.
say all of humanity needs grace or we're all going to die.
I think in fiction,
people need
certainly.
Ken? Ken's so dumb that he has to figure things out way at the end. He's been part of the
Have you seen Young Men?
what's the
Yes.
part of-
We need dumb characters to
He's not
realize.
that young.
We
As
need
people keep
He's not.
reminding me
He's
of
been around quite a
Chalamet.
while.
That's 30 years old.
We need 30-year-old men to realize the patriarchy is not the answer. He's the anti-Trump
Arguably, he's like
character.
70.
He's like, yeah.
He's a
And
character
who
that helps
knows?
today's
Yes.
man get better.
But then 5 minutes later, someone's going to come up with a better argument, and he'll be re-embracing the patriarchy again. He's a weak-willed, not that smart guy. Just
By
because
the
he can
end of the
sing,
movie, he
don't
lets
let
go
him.
Grace, by the way, is brilliant. I do want to
Let's
add that.
jump into our final arguments here, and we'll start with the outlaw John Rocha.
Derivative is irrelevant if you go and build upon what Coy just said. Build upon what, in the last argument, build upon what you built in before. And what you saw here in Drive was him building through some of the dramas in the early 2000s and really turning that corner in 2011. It's the reason why he's even in Project Hail Mary, because he showed us what he could do in Drive as a dramatic actor and at times having those comedic moments in other films. So it announced that this was an actor to be taken seriously after he had been in the Disney Channel, as Hal just pointed out. And I think that's why it's his greatest performance. You leave that theater thinking about his performance. I leave that theater thinking about Barbie. I leave that theater thinking about Rocky. I don't leave the theater of Drive thinking about anything else but that character's journey, and it's because of Ryan Gosling's performance.
Thank you. Coy.
A lot of people's big problem with Barbie is how much Ken stole the show because he was that good. And that word performance is how the performer performed. His performance in song, in dance, in mime, in comedy is strong, and it influences people. Movies are meant to make you look at yourselves. I think of these movies very strongly. I think of the performance of Ken in Barbie very strongly. It caused a pop culture phenomenon. It reframed Young Men, and the performance itself was singular. I can think of other actors that could play in Drive. I can think of other actors that could be in Hail Mary. I cannot think of another person performing Ken. Ryan Gosling's best performance is Ken.
Thank you, Coy. Eric.
I just say first doesn't mean better. So yes, Drive is an important film for him as far as him showing a new facet, and Barbie is an important film to showing another facet, but he's using that. He's building upon that. He's not saying, okay, now I've got it, now I'm stuck, He's going to put all of that into Grace. He's going to use that talent, but he's also going to go to the next level with it, and not just mix it up, but show that this character can embody so many different things. And yeah, Rocky's great, but I think that movie really does rest on Grace, both literally in screen time and the fact that it takes a while to, see Rocky more and more, but it's all about Grace's performance. He is our anchor here.
You just said it's about Grace's performance.
He's going to sell, Ryan Gosling is going to sell us on everything that's happening with Rocky, because yeah, Rocky's a cool, effect and, voice actor, but no, it's Gosling that has to be like, this is real. This is a character I'm interacting with, and show us everything that's going, the plight that this character is going with. It has humor for sure, and Gosling is great at comedy, but then he can really bring that emotion, and there are such great moments where he is turning on a dime with that, and I think that's
Time. Okay. Wow. Great stuff, y'all. Spencer Gilbert, anything factually?
Again, clean factual round. Eric said Gosling's been acting for 30 years. You pointed out 32 years ago he debuted in the Mickey Mouse Club at 13. 30 years ago, he appeared in his first film, Frankenstein and Me.
Spencer, do you want to come over for a little marathon of Del Toro's Frankenstein, The Bride, and Frankenstein and Me? Okay. So, thank you, Spencer. This was great. I mean, you all made such powerful arguments, and I was waffling again. I was waffling like a bad politician. And finally, Coy, I felt like you started to really ebb into, we've never seen this from him before. This was a singular performance and done extremely well, done expertly, transcendent comedy-wise, but I wasn't quite sold it was the best of his entire career. I got that, like, he did the comedy thing, he nailed it, made it a transcendent comedy performance, but as far as the best of his career, showcasing all his skills, I started to move towards these two a little bit more. And at the end of the day, like, I was going Rocha, but then it came down to Gosling. We started talking about flaws of the character in the movie. And I think we got a little hung up on that, and I think Goldman stuck to this was his best well-rounded performance, not how the character was written, and not, oh, the character was flawed in this way. I don't care about that for this. I care about, did Gosling knock it out of the park? And I heard that most from Goldman. Goldman, we're all tied up. 1-1-1.
Well got one, guys.
Good job.
I'd also like to apologize. Ryan Gosling is the only man that could have played any of these three parts. I said it in the heat of battle. It was only said for the fight. No one else could have been either of these. I saw these two, and this is my most worried.
He's still not coming on the show.
No. Ryan, I'm sorry. Also, the nice guys. None of us picking hurt my soul.
I
Oh,
almost did.
so good, so
Oh
good.
man.
So good.
Yeah, he's got a great body of work.
And a great body.
Okay. Round 4.
Oh my God.
Thank you. They've turned Lego into a thing. 21 Jump Street, Spider-Man into hit films. What IP, what existing IP should get the Lord and Miller treatment next? Back around, we'll start with Coy.
Lord and Miller are incredible at reframing IP. They look outside the box while keeping it true to what the actual intellectual property represents. I think none of us could have imagined what Lego would be. I don't think any of us could have cared about Cloudy with a Chance and Meatballs before them. I didn't think anyone could improve upon my favorite character in fiction, that is Spider-Man, but these guys did it. So we're entering an age where genre content is still very popular, but it seems like it's going in a very certain direction with a next thing taking over. And I think that next thing deserves the might of Lord and Miller, and I think that is video game movies, and I think the most deserving of all to get the maestro's touch is Grand Theft Auto.
Oh.
I want to see a giant world a la the metamodernist maestros with 21 Jump Street, with Lego, with what they do with reframing and using Project Hail Mary sci-fi tropes in new ways, but I want to see that with pop culture references. I want to see that with them reimagining themselves as they like to do. Every movie they've done has felt very different than the last. What they try to do is reimagine. They've never done a Guy Ritchie-esque crime thriller saga. I want to see that, but with that key Lord and Miller twist, because if this was just Matthew Vaughn, Guy Ritchie, a crime director, it would be like, oh, a video game movie. And that usually is when it falls apart. When things like this get elevated is when there's a little bit of shift in perspective. I think Grand Theft Auto deserves that. I think the pop culture references deserve it. I think the expanded world deserves it. And I think I would be worried if I heard any other names attached GTA.
And we'll get that GTA movie before GTA 6. Eric.
I'm keeping it simple here, guys. I'm going with the one that got us excited about 10 years ago, only to get yanked away from us, Star Wars. The one that we should have seen by now. Yeah, why were we excited in the first place? Because, like Coy said, that they are so good at these remixes of taking things that we love and then finding new ways to use them. And look, I'm not a blanket hater of Disney Star Wars or Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars. There's been actually several things I've liked, but I think it was a monumental mistake firing them off that movie. And I think the fact that they turned around and made a Spider-Man movie that then won an Oscar was a great sense of that. I think that they could do so much with Star Wars and with that universe, and to really kind of, freshen it up, find a new perspective on it. Maybe they shouldn't use one of the main characters, the core characters, but think about a Lobot movie or a Kit Fisto movie by Lord and Miller, or brand new characters. I think that they could take a corner of Star Wars and they could really show you what you love about it, but do it in a new, exciting way. I think their sense of humor is so great. It doesn't turn things into just like joke. It's not scary movie. It is just having fun within that universe. And I think Star Wars could use that energy that they bring to it. And I would really love to see that. And I want to see that solo footage.
All right, Eric is sending them to a galaxy far, far away. John Rocha?
I'm taking them back down to earth, because let me tell you something. These two guys made some nice points, some interesting points. I hope you nerds enjoyed that kind of stuff. But let me tell you the actual truth. Let me come to you from an artist's point of view. Lord and Miller love to be challenged. Yes, rehashing a video game franchise, I saw it. It's called Lego the Movie. It's not that interesting to them. Doesn't challenge them overall. They redid Spider-Man. It was amazing. They got kicked off Star Wars. They're not going to come back and do that again. I know that personally from Mr. Phil Lord. And I'll tell you this. The other situation, when you look at this, Jason Bourne is your answer. Why? Because it's challenging. What did we see the Russos do? Captain America. Bring new life into Captain America. It was amazing, right? These kind of comedy guys somehow coming together and bringing something new and interesting. If there's a franchise that needs an injection of new life with the right amount of humor and people who can do action really well, it is the Jason Bourne franchise. Lord and Miller, and I think they would find the right young actor to come in, just like they blew up Chris Pratt in the Lego Movie. They know exactly how to find the right actor to fit their profile and be able to do something new and interesting. And these two guys love to be challenged. Jason Bourne, it's a hell of a challenge. You guys just said it. They remix old stuff. That's certainly in their wheelhouse. But doing something in a new genre, I think would be amazing to see from Lord and Miller, Jason Bourne franchise.
All right, Rocha giving us a Bourne ultimatum. Let's find out.
All right, so if you say they don't want to redo anything, and then you say they're going to redo a franchise that has 5 installments, I don't think they would want to be beholden to the Paul Greengrass, Doug Liman world that is already so well established. I know the books are a little different, but I don't think the audience that's going to show up would want something that they just had, whereas GTA we all want something different. It allows for all the things you just suggested, down to earth, gritty, reimagining, doing a challenge, trying something new, and personally, I don't think those dudes would ever want to work in a world of Star Wars when they've just done space better.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think they want to work in a world where they got to show cops getting shot and women getting in scantily clad clothes, getting possibly sexually assaulted.
Why are we getting hung up on
There's drugs in Grand Theft Auto.
You're describing great.
Why are we getting hung up here on what they want to actually do? We are gods here, and we are saying what they should do. So I'm saying they should do Star Wars, whether they want
Easy
to
Dune
or
3.
not.
Easy Dune 3.
I am a god.
I'm saying, Phil, Chris, you're doing Star Wars again, and you're going to do it damn great.
What worries me is the first thing you said was these two characters that I personally don't know. I'm a pretty big nerd, but I'm not a big Star Wars nerd. I'll own that right away. I don't want to see us lose them to that for 5 years and then not get them back. I actually would feel like that'd be lost.
I think that's a great point, Coy. Because I don't want to lose them in the Grand Theft Auto. They can't even get a video game out and lose them for 5 years again and have them kicked off just like they were off Star Wars.
Like you said, we might get a movie
I don't think Lord and Miller will grab that kind of grindhouse energy that is a part of Grand Theft Auto with crossing the lines, crossing the moral lines, like Quentin Tarantino's Grand Theft Auto. Sign me the F up, but not Lord and Miller. They've got softer sensibilities, and I think challenging themselves to go in something that's spy-based, something that's interesting and out of their wheelhouse would be fascinating with Jason Bourne. And there's no way, because of PTSD, they're not going to go back and do Star Wars.
Yeah, I think
that's just a done deal.
Again, they have no say here. They have to do it.
I honestly, I wouldn't want them to be I love their work. Why do we want to shackle them to horrors? So for me personally, I wouldn't have thought GTA before Project Hail Mary. But then I thought, these guys clearly want to reinvent
There's no drugs in Project Hail Mary. There's no scantily clad women, and there's no cops getting shot.
They only kill like 3 hookers in Project Hail Mary.
I don't know why we think that Lord and Miller, as grown men, wouldn't want this too. They clearly love the sensibilities of things that are evolved.
Nothing in their work would tell you that.
I
nothing
don't
in their
see
work would have told you Project Hail Mary
But
before.
the challenge with Solo, you can make that connection to Jason Bourne, a rebel, a guy on his own, a guy trying to establish himself, a guy outside the system, a reluctant hero. That's something they know, but they can put an interesting new, more serious spin on it. And it's not going back to what Doug Liman did or any of the other people did. That's why they would be the right choice, because they'd be a new sensibility, a new attitude, a new approach to it, and it would be amazing by the end of the day. And our estimation of them would grow even more as it's grown with every new project they tackle.
I respect both your arguments about the R-ratedness, but we don't know because we haven't seen it yet. Project Hail Mary, if you told me 21 Jump Street, Project Hail Mary...
Coy, roll this into your final thoughts.
So I wouldn't have expected that before either, but I think they want to reinvent themselves in ways that surprise people. We would not have thought after Spider-Verse they'd be making one of the great modern sci-fis. We would not have thought before 21 Jump Street they'd make a good Spider-Man. The point of reinvention is doing stuff you wouldn't expect now. The foundation of Lord and Miller is world building. It is pop culture references. It is expanding things into giant franchises if they so choose. And most of all, these guys are able to make IP that shouldn't work. So I think if we remove your R-rated argument, which is the only argument I've heard is you saying they wouldn't use hookers, we don't know if they love R-rated things.
Are you telling me Spider-Man's IP that doesn't work, Lego's IP that doesn't work? What are you talking about?
Removing that one argument, everything they do, which is world building, which is reinventing IP and all that things, plus they have a first look 7-figure deal with Sony who own the rights to Grand Theft Auto. We deserve these good filmmakers. We don't deserve to shackle them. We don't deserve to rehash them on a franchise we've had 5 of. I want something fresh. I want GTA.
Thank you, brother. Eric.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think they'd be shackled. I mean, look at the fact that we're, in the 20-year break between Spider-Verse movies, they're doing Project Hail Mary. They're producing new Clone High episodes. They're able to do a lot. And also, again, the whole thing about would they want to go back. Here, let's say right now, they get final cut. They're unfireable. They're in contract. They can't be fired.
Disney does a lot of those deals.
No, this is the special movie fights contract.
They won't tell them how to fold their
That
socks.
is set into stone, so they can do whatever they want. And I think that obviously they love Star Wars. That's why they wanted to do it in the first place. And I think that we've seen that they do great with action. With Spider-Man, we've seen that they get the heart of these characters, but they also get the energy and the fun. I think getting to mix it up in the Star Wars world, to get to see a Lord and Miller lightsaber fight and the wit and the energy and the creativity they bring to that, that's something I want to see.
Thank you, Eric. John Rocha.
When you talk about jumping out of something that you know into something new, that's what Jason Bourne is. Look, it's not that much of a jump from Mitchells and the Machines to Lego Movie to Spider-Man to Grand Theft Auto. Those are all, you could argue, animated. So it's not that much of a jump. So what you want to do is something live action that challenges you. They showed shades of it in 21 Jump Street, one of the best films they've ever done, as I said earlier. And so seeing them go into something like the Jason Bourne franchise, I think people would be really excited to see what Lord and Miller would do. And that's what you want. Are they excited by Grand Theft Auto? I think a lot of the hardcore fans would be like, I don't want these soft guys near this. Would they be in Star Wars? We already saw it again. They got fired. But Jason Bourne, people are crying out for a rebirth of that. And I think they would bring their artistic sensibilities and bring a little sprinkle of humor along with the seriousness. And as these colleagues just said, they do action really well. Jason Bourne lives on action.
All right. Woo! Very, very much enjoyable to listen to you all go back and forth. Spencer, hit me with some facts.
So
fact checks.
regarding Lord Miller wanting to stay away from R-rated projects, 21 and 22 Jump Street both had an R rating.
No hookers!
Deleted seats.
Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser said that, quote, the risk never made sense to adapt their massive IP into a constrained film, but as Eric noted, here we are gods and they have no say.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great line, great line. Spencer, thank you so much. Yeah, that's, that might have superseded Deus Ex Droid. We are gods here as line of the day. Let me know in the comment section. Just better mic drop line. We are, and that's the fun thing. Like when you're just like sitting in a diner talking movies with someone, oh yeah, I'm the studio head.
Hell, Lord and Miller run Lucasfilm now.
Yes, I'm the king of Hollywood now. So I love where you're coming at from these arguments. John, you reminded me how much I love so many of the Bourne movies and Matt Damon in those movies, Paul Greengrass, and et cetera. Such good action. You reminded me of just the possibilities that were stolen from us with Solo, and Ron Howard just kind of made it like middling. And Coy, you got me really interested in this. At the end of the day, I'm going Coy.
Whoa.
Okay, I felt like we've been down those roads a lot. They seemed a little bit. It seemed, been there, didn't work out, seemed 5 installments. I'm like, are the people clamoring for more Bourne? I love the franchise, but this got me like, ooh, that's interesting. A little more right here. Coy gets the point. Wow.
I was so afraid I was misremembering 21 Jump Street. I thought they were R-rated, but I knew if I said it wrong, that would be end of me. So I was like, don't say they're R-rated.
I hope you like fully clothed hookers. Enjoy Lord and Miller's.
These guys are on edge.
Sex workers. People.
Sex workers, I'm
workers.
sorry.
2026.
And cops that only get nicked. Yes, go ahead.
Woo, that was maybe the most lightheaded.
If they did that, I'm sure they'd do what they needed to do.
I want that.
So, to recap the score before we hit our next round, it is Coy leading the way with 2, Eric with 1, Rocha with 1. Okay, and this is the final round. Here we go. So, yeah, if Coy takes this, then we'll have a tie break. If Eric or Rocha take this, then they'll join Coy in the speed round. Question 5. What Earthling character are you sending on a solo interstellar mission to save the planet? And we'll start with Eric.
This is a very easy, simple answer. The Pride of Iowa. You send a guy who's already done it over and over again. You send James Tiberius Kirk. He's got the skill. He's got the knowledge. He's a captain. He's an admiral. He knows all the rules, and he knows when to break the rules. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to fight. He can woo when he needs to. He's got every skill you need, and he's proven because he has saved the world multiple times from multiple threats. So I don't even know why they're even going to have an argument because it's James T. Kirk. You can watch all the video. All the footage is out there for you.
Some good lines already. Knows the rules, knows how to break the rules. Can you fact check? Because he said he can woo. How many aliens did Captain Kirk, William Shatner get intimate with?
Those are two different questions.
Oh yeah, William Shatner as the actor. And the character.
Copy that.
I'm anxious to see those fact checks. Okay.
Work laptop, by the way.
Oh yeah, you gotta take safe search off. Rocha.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay.
Who are you sending on a solo interstellar?
It is Hal Jordan's Green Lantern. Absolutely. Hal Jordan is a hero over and over again in the comics. He is the only Green Lantern to forge his ring out of his own will. That says something. He has saved the universe and the Earth multiple times. He has died in trying to save the Earth and been reborn and kept saying he's become a Spectre. He's even gotten taken over by Parallax and still found his way out of it. It's indomitable will, and he flies into the face of danger with no fear. That is the number one trait of Hal Jordan's Green Lantern. There is no fear because he believes he can solve the issue, and he does way more than he doesn't in the comics, and it's an incredible trait to have for someone who is defending the Earth from cosmic outer space attackers, and he's not going to be distracted by women like Kirk.
All right, Hal Jordan. Two great answers right out of the gate. Coy, what do you got?
I went with a beacon of humanity because this is a mission we don't know what it entails. This is a Project Hail Mary journey where you're celebrating someone that is not an astronaut that saves us by going on an interstellar mission. He puts the not in astronaut, and so does my guy, because my guy is someone who is patient. He is someone who is full of ingenuity. He is one of the best human beings ever to exist. He is someone I would want as an ambassador for Earth in case anything happens when they meet Earthlings. I want Earth to be cool and protected, which is the point of this interstellar mission. There's a VHS right there that happens to be right next to the one that says Shawshank Redemption.
Did he put that on the
I did not. I just looked over and it was right there.
This is a franchise.
Andy Dufresne. Send him to space. Andy Dufresne is a man who was able to save all of the prisoners.
Did you just usual suspects?
I sent this email in a week ago. Check the
all right.
check the, there's receipts online. But when you think about Shawshank Redemption, that is a movie about humanity. When I think about humanity, I want someone to represent us well. This man was able to make the lives better for people imprisoned, make the guards' lives better, to keep humanity at bay. I want someone up in space dealing with all that pressure and all those judgments to be that kind of level-headed, calm, compassionate, and human. Andy Dufresne's going to space.
Andy Dufresne's in space. That should be the Shawshank sequel. Fight it out, y'all.
Andy Dufresne's going to space. Andy Dufresne's going to die in space.
100% going to die.
Ryland Grace learned.
He got framed by his ex-wife for
Ryland Grace did not have any space experience.
Making a tunnel does not prepare you.
Yeah,
Ryland Grace was a biochemist.
He only saved the guards and Red, and not even saved Red.
Scientific background. He had something to base it
We
off.
teach babies.
And rock hammers are nice, but
adults
that's
go to
not
space.
science. Listen, Green Lantern is done. He was trained by the greatest Green Lantern, Sinestro, before he turned evil, so he has all the traits necessary, and he improved upon the training that he got. He has saved the Earth over and over and over again. He knows the universe. He knows the cosmic galaxy. Andrew Frank can't even spell Saturn, so I don't even know why he's even in the conversation. And Captain Kirk, I don't even want to start. You just put a scantily-clad, green-skinned woman in his way, and you've distracted him for the entire episode. So it's not even worth it to think.
And then what happens at the end of the episode?
What happens?
Still
he gets caught with his britches down every single
Still
time.
saves
as
the
he
world.
does in Wrath of Khan. And he let Spock die. He let his best friend die. What kind of guy do you want out there to do that for? No, other people have to save it most of the time because Kirk is the one who gets them into trouble.
Hal Jordan turned evil. Are we just going to ignore
He didn't
Parallax?
turn evil. He got taken over. And you can't talk about that with Kirk got taken over by the evil Kirk. What are you talking about?
Briefly, Parallax was a multi-year storyline.
Also, the only Hal Jordan we've experienced has been
As a movie character.
No, wait, we're not arguing. We said we're
movie
gods.
character.
We said we're gods.
It's a movie.
No,
Hal
no,
Jordan.
it said which.
It has been established we're gods.
Yeah, thank you. and so Hal Jordan is essentially a god. So I mean, he would handle it. He knows exactly. He knows the terrain of the universe. He knows the terrain of cosmos. He knows who the threats are. He knows their weaknesses and their strengths. And he's able to work with a team just like he did in Justice League.
But he can be
just like the
undone.
Green Lantern Corps, just like he did with other.
He can be undone by Deadpool killing Ryan Reynolds. That's been established.
Well, that's true. If we're going zooming out, but both of your men can be undone, as we've seen. We've never seen Andy Dufresne.
He has
not
been undone
succeed.
by a bunch of rapists in prison. He was
Yeah,
undone.
unfortunately-
Then he was undone by
And he
his
persevered.
ex-wife.
He persevered to the point.
Then he
of
was
making
almost
sure
undone by the warden. So he
set
gets
aside
undone a lot.
His best friend, he set aside money for and waited patiently versus Spock, who was killed. I agree with
Green
Rocha.
Lantern
It
knows-
took him years to defeat Dirt. So if we've got an interstellar situation here, I think time is of the essence. We got a guy who knows his way around a starship.
Acknowledging his
That's
patience
Captain
is, I
Kirk.
agree, very
Captain
important. He's
Kirk-
going to be interstellar.
But
That's a lot
Captain
of
Kirk goes
patience
flying
required.
into trouble. He's most of those episodes.
Are
He's
his
the reason
impulsiveness-
they get into
Yes.
trouble
Yes.
because he
And
does.
guess
but
what?
not
Wins.
Hal. Hal Jordan has a record. Even when
Wins.
listen to this, even when he was a fighter pilot, he was making sure people didn't die because he wanted to test out the planes to make sure the younger pilots didn't die. So he has always had the impulse to save others, save lives. That has always been Green Lantern's or Hal Jordan's core. So the Green Lantern was an extension of who he is. So saving Earth, saving humanity, saving the universe, saving the planets and the cosmos and the galaxy. That is his impetus. And so that's why he's the best one to defend everybody. Kirk could get distracted by other things. Andy Dufresne's not smart enough. It's Hal Jordan who's been there time and time again. You want to take a person's resume, that's what you judge.
Captain Kirk brought whales through time to save our planet.
That was actually what's-her-face in the movie who taught the whales for Georgia Gracie.
Who do you think recruited Catherine?
And it was Spock who went down there and did the mind meld, so it wasn't even Kirk.
He
All
led
of the
the way.
things being described
They're
are reasons
all
Andy
listening to
Dufresne is the
Captain
right
Kirk.
man for the job. Both of your men, when you think of them, you think of violence, you think of failure. My guy has had horrible things happen to him and persevered throughout. I want a representative, an ambassador who represents the best of us, not
talk
the
about-
most.
He's only proven he can save himself.
You talk about persevering. Green
Morgan
Lantern has
Freeman?
persevered being taken over by an evil entity and found his way out. It is his strength of will. He is always going
Let's have
through
some
and growing.
short final
Yes.
thoughts, starting with Eric.
Triumph of the human spirit's all well and good. We're talking about triumph of humanity, and that is Captain Kirk, who's done it over and over again. A guy who's defeated the Kobayashi Maru. He's unstoppable force. He'll go through time. He'll slingshot. He has figured out everything. And yeah, he might get a little distracted, but he saves the day at the end of that 60 minutes or at the end of that 2-hour adventure every time. There's a reason he got made Admiral eventually, because he is so damn accomplished. I think, again, look at the resume. Speaks for itself.
Thank
does.
you. Eric, Rocha.
Now, on the resume, it is step down from being admiral to be captain because that's what he does best. So you see that he shirked from his responsibility. Hal Jordan has never done that. Hal Jordan has always stepped up to the plate, whether he was the Green Lantern or not, and that's a record you can't fight. He finds a way to create teams, as I said, with the Justice League. He led the Green Lantern Corps, the creation, because he knew that's what was needed to fight the cosmic villains out in outer space, protecting Earth and other planets. That's the kind of care he has, and he has overcome so many things to come back and survive because of strength of will. And even when you think you've lost, he finds a way to win. And that's what you want when you want someone defending Earth.
Thank you, Coy.
At one point, you said he only thinks of himself, which is crazy. He's a man who literally sits on a hot fruit and doesn't drink the beers. He's a man that gets the beers for others. He is a man who makes sure that everyone else is taken care of. I love both of these characters. I consider someone letting their friend die not an option in space when you probably have very few resources and you want to make sure that everything's taken care of. And a guy who has literally destroyed the galaxy historically. If we're zooming out past the Hal Jordan movie, which I'm glad we're just not acknowledging the Ryan Reynolds, if we're looking at space, this man has become an evil entity that has consumed galaxies. If I want him to protect the Earth, if I want him to be an interstellar ambassador, I don't want a man who has become Parallax, who has become Spectre, who has ruined things, or a man who has let his best friend die. I want a man who has saved everyone around him, that has endured things that no one else could.
The best way to fight evil is to know evil, and he let Brooks die. So I don't know. What you're talking about.
Okay, time.
Andy Dufresne versus these two is such a funny concept.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see Andy
Listen.
Dufresne versus Pennywise now.
my mind is a little blown. Let's go to Spencer. What do we got in the way of facts?
I have only been researching Captain Kirk's body count.
Hey,
You could have said anything.
What are the images?
What
are
else?
the images?
What else do you need, my dude?
Yeah, right.
Bring up that fanfic.
His alien conquests were between 4 and 8, depending on how much you want to read into the innuendo, but at least 4 confirmed.
Okay.
And then
Confirmed.
Shatner himself relayed a story on a podcast where he crashed his dirt bike into a hole in the desert in Mexico, and an alien led him to safety.
Oh, boy.
But what happened after that, I leave to fan.
I think we saw it in Ghostbusters with Dan Aykroyd in that bed.
Okay, so all iconic characters. We had some great arguments. I think Rocha and Eric established that Andy Dufresne would be a little out of his depth. He'd die in space.
Marlon Grace made it. He learned how to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
He was a fourth grade teater. So would Andy
He just
Dufresne.
had a couple of strikes against him. Listen, I'd trust him with house sitting for me, or if I, needed someone to help me with estate issues or babysitting, a man of character. You painted that picture, but why he should go to space? I get he would be maybe a little bit of a diplomat and work well with people, but doesn't have the skills on his resume. These two did, but I feel like Rocha painted the picture of this solo mission. This guy could do it, tried and true. Eric, said, hey, Shatner's been there, done that, and he knows his way around a starship. But I think people framed it that he was with a team. He had so much of a team helping him. Whereas, Hal Jordan, he could handle it that much more by himself. So just that much more persuasive. From Rocha. Rocha gets it.
Oh, boy.
And it's going to be Coy and Rocha going on to the speed round. Eric, your answers were on point all the way through. I loved listening to your arguments. And please stick around and help me figure out who wins these speed round questions. Okay. So we are tied 2-2. So Spencer, help me out with this. The first person
First
to
to
hit
3.
What's that?
First person to win 3 speed rounds.
There
will be
it
our
is.
Winner today.
Thanks, brother. First person to win 3 speed round points is going to be walking away with the invisible belt, the invisible crown. They will call themselves winner of
Did
today's.
someone say all the belts and all the records? Let's go. We're going for a belt. I didn't know it was for a belt.
We got an outlaw in the house, folks.
do it.
All right. So here are the rules for the speed round. I will ask the question, shout out your answer, and whoever I hear first will then have the time to answer first. And we'll get 30 seconds, and then rebuttals of 20 seconds. Okay? And then again, first person to 3 wins the day. Y'all ready for this? Okay. Question number 1.
Wait, are any of these on the desk? I just want to make sure if any of these movies you're referencing are on the desk.
What are the chances of an email from a week ago? I walked in, I was like, yes! It didn't help me.
I've got my lawyer on speed dial right now.
Listen, he didn't win the point.
I was the first out with the VHS assist.
Question number 1 of the speed round. After the success of Lord & Miller's Lego movies and the Lego Batman, what classic film IP should get a Lego movie? Classic film IP.
Classic film IP.
Gonna start a countdown in a moment.
Yeah, usually it's an immediate, but
5, 4, 3.
The Godfather.
We have The Godfather.
oh wow.
Coy, in 3, 2.
The John Hughes universe.
The John Hughes-averse. Okay.
You bastard.
Shermer, I believe you mean Shermer High.
Shermer High, yeah, the suburbs of Chicago. Okay, so Coy for John Hughes-averse. And Spencer, how many films are in the John Hughes universe? You want to fact check?
And am I right about Shermer?
John Rocha, Godfather, and 30 seconds on the clock for Rocha and The Godfather.
Here we go. It's really cute, isn't it? In the Barbie movie, they reference a dudes talking about Godfather all the time. Well, how do you make The Godfather palatable to younger people? Don't we want to pass on the love of film to younger people so we can keep that going? The Lego version of The Godfather will work so well. You can explore more of the nuance of the relationship. We can see more of those Jenko deleted scenes there with Vito. We see more of Vito's rise from when he first came into power, then Michael gets born, or then Michael achieves his success in the military. We would love to see more of that. You can flesh out Lego, and Lord & Miller will understand how to play serious with it and have those moments of humor that make The Godfather so great.
Time? Okay. 30 seconds for the John Hughes universe.
The beautiful thing about the Lego movies, especially the Lego Batman movies, is you have the right to all the IP in all of those things. I would love to see those characters that have never actually appeared on screen together that you know canonically share a universe actually get to interact. It also allows for the voice and the ability to have the actors that want to reprise their roles come back. It allows for that nostalgia, but it also, as John said, allows for a new generation to discover those characters. So it feeds people back to the old films while giving us a more articulate and able to be palatable for all audiences ability to connect characters we've always wanted to see together in a shared universe, just like the Lego Batman movie does well.
I think the last thing.
Yeah, well, you had 4 more seconds, Coy, but that's fine.
All right.
Damn.
I'll start when you start.
All right. I mean, I've never heard like a court. You talk. you talk like a court stenographer type.
His brain does shorthand. It's an amazing
Auction,
thing.
it's so loud all the time. It's the one time it's quiet.
Coy, you still got it, my dude. Okay. 20 seconds for Mr. Rocha.
20 seconds. Last thing I want to watch is Lego Molly Ringwald's panties. Last thing I want to watch is Lego racist stereotypes, as you saw in 16 Candles. I want to watch something that's really poignant and interesting and new. And Lord and Miller bringing their take on all this kind of stuff would be amazing to see. Their idea of a criminal enterprise, an Italian mob underworld, and how they could flesh that out. I think that's more of a challenge for them as an artist, as I said 3 rounds ago.
Time. 20 seconds for Coy.
All my arguments you had against Grand Theft Auto would totally apply if Lord and Miller during The Godfather, but also the reason you love The Godfather is their performances. I love what Lego can do to make you connect to characters, but I certainly don't connect to those pale, blinking, blawed eyes. I want to see something that's going to be interactions and character development, dialogue. I want to see human connection. You're going to get that from the Hughes movies. You're not going to get the human connection from The Godfather. You're going to get people spoofing The Godfather by way of Lego. It's not going to be entertaining. It's going to be sparse.
Time. Woo! Wow. Two varied choices there. Spencer, thoughts about this argument?
Good stuff. Tough question. I do want to point out, to counter Rocha's point a little bit, is just we did not say that Lord and Miller would be making this film. It's just the Lego treatment, so it could be anyone taking on.
Well, he said Lego.
I ran off with that.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. I think Coy took it for me. It was very compelling to an interesting point about bringing the voices back to reprise their old roles and everyone doing The Godfather. That seems kind of sacrilegious to bring the dead back to voice the Lego version. But the John Hughes-averse you could do.
How dare you?
Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, I like the idea, a lot of the Vito deleted scenes, but I was swayed by Coy saying that he liked to sort of really mix it up and see a shared universe hinted at before, but we'd actually fully get to see. And also, I have to say, the Lego panties thing I actually thought sounds like a funny sight gag. You know?
Awesome. Thank you, Eric.
a good
Spencer, Eric, I appreciate the thoughts. Yeah, you know, I'm really interested in seeing the Lego Godfather, but yeah, you're touching on that universe, that like, you know, that gumbo of seeing all of those characters, and that's a lot of fun. You know, the problematic elements aside, you had a good point there, but yeah, I think Coy takes this one. Okay. So it is 3-2. Coy, yeah, and when Spencer said, yeah, a little bit sacrilege, it's like, you know,
Someone doing a Brando as
I'm
a Lego.
interested.
Everyone's got a Brando.
It feels a little, yeah, it feels like a little dirty. I'm like, I kind of want to go there, but
Pacino's still around.
He can do them all.
She's got a great brick!
love it. Okay, speed round question number 2. What's the sickest movie spaceship?
Millennium Falcon.
The Milano.
Nice.
All right.
How the turntables.
Okay, Millennium Falcon, the Milano from Rocha. 30 seconds on the clock for Coy. Whenever you're ready.
The beautiful thing about the Millennium Falcon is you're so endeared to all of its capabilities. You're so endeared to the sound design. You're so endeared to the visual. Everything about it just warms your heart, but then it's also a very capable ship. It can do things you don't expect, and the best thing of all is it represents the entire Star Wars universe in that it's an underdog. Everything the Millennium Falcon is and represents is why you love these characters, why you love these universes. It's a rebel. It's scrappy. It can do things people don't expect while looking bedraggled, while looking like its owners. I love when animals look like their owners. I love even more when spaceships look like the captains. This is a spaceship we love, and we love it for a reason, and it's capable on top of all of the nostalgia and clickbait elements of it.
Thank you, Coy. John Rocha.
The question is, what was the sickest? Not the one that makes me feel good or is an underdog. It's the sickest. And when you go inside of the Milano, there's a lot of sick shit happening in Milano. A lot of cool things you can see, a lot of things that they can do. The weapons, the way the weapons are used, the way it's constructed itself, the way you have two captains moving that thing, even the positioning of how they do stuff is pretty sick. And their powers and using that arm out there to grab stuff, those are all sick things you can see inside of a spaceship like the Milano. The way it's designed to be in and out and what it can do. And I think the way it's overall the inside, the way it's designed as well, and fits all of those different characters and their powers.
Time. Coy.
I think something can be sick in the 90s way in a good way, and something can also be sick in a bad way. I can't describe what the
This
Milano's
is sick in
like.
a good way.
Yeah. So I think Millennium
That's how I
Falcon is
took
sick in a good way because I can actually tell you what it does and how it functions. I could not tell you the actual functionality of the Milano. When I think about it, it's a little bit of chaos. Millennium Falcon has tried and true structure as well as all the things we love about it, as well as tying into things. It does all the things the Milano does, but does them better and does them in a way that is much more logically and positioned way. It is sick.
Okay, Boomer and your Millennium Falcon. That's not what this is about. We're talking about sick. And what is sick? It's lean, it's small, it's tight. It gets into the crevices. It uses its powers. It uses new ways of doing things. And it does it better than the Millennium Falcon. Thanks, Dad. But we're going to take it from here. Junior's going to take it from here. And that's what the Milano does. It handles its business and can store an incredible amount of power within its ship. That's sick AF.
Time.
All right, nicely done, fellas. Two great ships. I wish I had all the toys. Spencer.
Man, this really hinges on your definition of sick, doesn't it?
Oh, sick. Cool.
Well, I'll say this. I feel like Rocha did do a better job of describing, sickness and isolation. Just the ship itself is the sickest spaceship, whereas Coy made a better argument to me for it being sick as a character and as a piece of a movie and what it means to the story, being the underdog and, form matching the themes of Star Wars. I'll give it to Coy by an edge for me, just a razor's edge, just because I think it's sicker to tie into the story than it is to just be a 1-versus-1 shootout.
Gotcha. You know what? Join us later for the philosophy of sick. the many faces. Eric.
Coy's argument about the Falcon being a representative of the underdog in Star Wars, I thought was a really great, sweet sentiment, but it wasn't sick. And I did like that John took that to the core of what we're talking about here, and I thought that he nailed it on that.
Coy had a great answer about why we love the Millennium Falcon. John had complete knockout blows with why the Milano was sick. Sick AF. Rocha takes that. We're all tied up. But you're tugging at my heartstring. Like, the ship that's like a little bit draggled looks like a captain. Good answer all around. Question 3, we're all tied up at 3. Threes are wild. What film was the most unlikely success at the box office?
Ever?
Open-ended, yes.
In 1947.
Yeah. Does it have to be a talkie?
It ends with us.
Oppenheimer.
It ends with us.
It ends with us. Ooh, a little spicy. And
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Okay, so we have Rocha with It Ends, and Coy with Op.
Operation Heimer.
Okay, we heard from Rocha first. 30 seconds on the clock.
Oh, me? Okay. I thought it went, or didn't go. Oh, sorry.
said
Yeah,
that before.
We heard from you first.
What did I say?
It ends with us.
Yes, there we go. Okay. And I'll tell you why it ends with us, because I'll tell you, Colleen Hoover was known amongst the book readers, right? But we didn't know if her stuff was going to transfer over onto film. And what it was able to do blew away. I think it was like 10 times the budget, what it made at the box office. None of the remaining other films have done that. Whatever, Reminders of Him and whatever the other one is that's out now, those films have not come close to what It Ends With Us did. No one expected that to be a blockbuster. It was just a film about domestic violence, which is an important issue, and a film about a relationship, but no one thought this was going to be, especially at a time when rom-coms are not done. And that's how Blake pitched it, as a rom-com, and it did incredible box office.
When you think about box office, you do not think about slow burn talking films that are half in black and white and half in color, even if it's directed by Chris Nolan, who has had success but not consistently at that level. This is a movie that succeeded because it was so good and happened to have Barbie alongside for the Barbenheimer phenomenon. This is a movie that should not have done as well. Quality-wise, it absolutely should have, but that doesn't make $900 million off quality, especially black and white, especially with how much dialogue, especially how dense it was, especially that it led to a nuclear bomb. This is a movie made for intellectuals that did blockbuster numbers. It is counter-programming all the way and happened to synchronize with Barbie.
If you're telling me that a film directed by Christopher Nolan is a surprise that it did well at the box office, I don't think you know anything about film, for God's sakes. This is absolutely what people expected, led by Cillian Murphy, who was at the top of his game coming off of Peaky Blinders, Emily Blunt, who had been multiple Oscar nominated. So this had a murderer's row of actors. It was not a surprise it did well. No one had heard of this Justin guy as a director, and no one expected this film to be as successful at the box office as what Nolan was expected, not this one.
This was literally Cillian Murphy's first lead of a film. He is not a man who opens $900 million films.
Red Eye!
He doesn't open films. That did so well. Emily Blunt is someone who also doesn't open films. Christopher Nolan makes big movies, but even his Batman Begins made like $500 million. This is a movie about.
So it's not a surprise. That's what.
That is half of the budget that this one made. This made $900+ million, almost $1 billion, and is a scientific theory movie, half in black and white. That is all dialogue based. This is counter-programmed.
Okay. Wow.
Counter.
Yes,
He's going to take a nap now.
Please be silent while the other person asks. Okay.
I apologize.
Let's go to my main man, Spenny.
I mean, Coy, there were a lot of arguments. You probably beat him on quantity, but the quality of, can you really be surprised that a Nolan movie is successful in this day and age did it for me. I'm going to give that to Rocha.
Yep. Eric.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of an uphill battle because maybe you could say it made $100 million more than we expected, but I think we did expect it to be a hit. So I have to go with John here.
Yep, I got to go with Rocha and the controversial It Ends With Us, where you got the movie and then you got the drama. So Rocha takes the lead, 4-3. We're going to question 4. Oh, and BT Dubs, if Rocha takes this one, game over. Coy needs it to tie.
It's fifth round, Coy. It's fifth round.
This is familiar.
I'm sweating like crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Here we go, y'all. You're killing it. We're all winners for having witnessed this. What film would you show to an alien to teach them about humanity?
Project Hail Mary.
Nice.
We got Project Hail Mary.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Gotcha. All right. We heard from Rocha first. He has Project Hail Mary. Coy has It's a Wonderful Life. Rocha, 30 seconds whenever you're ready.
Project Hail Mary. I mean, look, what is the film about? It's about a human coming together with an alien. If I'm showing something to aliens, show them how great humanity is, the way they work together, the way they function together, the way they solve the problems together, the way they communicate with each other. It's Ryan Gosling, the human, who figures out how to communicate with Rocky, not vice versa, and they put it together. And at the end, what happens? Rocky is left in space. What does the human do? He comes back to save him. So that shows you the love that humanity has for other aliens. So if I'm showing an alien a film about humanity, the best of us, it is absolutely Project Hail Mary because of the actions of Ryan Gosling in that movie.
If I'm showing an alien a film about humanity, I want it to understand that we are a communal creature. I want it to understand there are highs and lows. I want it to understand that we exist as a tribe. I think that is so important, and I think that's one of the things we're losing in our humanity now. And while we're so angry, I want to show them a classic film that has endured the test of time, that is a testament to us as a community, that is a testament to what we can overcome, that is a testament to the best of us while being part of a neighborhood, while being part of things. It also needs to see the opposing side of that. It needs a villain. It needs to understand things can go wrong. And what if it doesn't like the Rocky tile of Alien? What if it doesn't like the diplomacy? What if it doesn't like those elements? I think It's a Wonderful Life needs to focus on the humanity. I think you need to focus on community. I think you need to.
Time. By the way, it sounded like you said It's a Wonderful Knife.
I did, which was a movie a couple years ago.
Merry Christmas. It's a Wonderful Knife.
It's a wonderful knife.
With David Harbour.
Am I the only one who saw It's a Wonderful Knife at this table?
Okay. 20-second rebuttal.
Listen, Coy made a beautiful argument, and all of that is already in Project Hail Mary. Plus, you get more of the communication with the alien, you get more of the progression. Plus, he's a human who has doubts about himself, just like George Bailey. What does he do? He overcomes those doubts. He finds a way to work together with everybody, and he brings this thing into port, and he shows you the intelligence, the care, the compassion, and the drive of humanity to survive. And that's what an alien wants to see if they want to get to know us.
There isn't a single child in Project Hail Mary. People need to see the scope and evolution of humanity. They need to see parenting. They need to see the journey of community. They need to see how we live on Earth. I don't want it to learn about Earth from a person that's barely on Earth in the movie. I don't want it to learn about Earth communicating with an alien. I want it to learn about Earth communicating with humans. If we're teaching about Earth, if we're teaching about here, it needs to learn what here is. It needs to learn what we are, not necessarily what we are where we're outside of us. It's us.
Time. Woo! All right, two very different choices. I like what I heard. Spencer?
Really tough. This could be a coin flip for me. I love Rocha saying that they are coming back to save an alien. I think that would probably land with an alien audience. But Coy made a good rebuttal that what if they don't like the way aliens are depicted? That could
We learned that a lot.
yeah, that could cause some issues. I'll give it to Rocha. He's got a bigger hat.
One on Rocha. Goldman.
I'm sad neither of you chose Terrifier 2, first off. But yeah, actually, they were very good arguments from both of you. I thought it all really sold, but I do have to say there was a classroom of kids, Coy, in
Yes!
Hail Mary. I'm giving it to Rocha.
There was.
Okay,
more of the
they're both giving it to Rocha. I'm going back to the question to show an alien to teach them about humanity, and I think It's a Wonderful Life and the points that Coy made, do that just that much more. So I'm going Coy.
Wow.
We're all tied up. We are all tied up.
How do you show someone humanity who wants to kill himself? But all right, fine.
That's a part of humanity.
Yeah, ups, downs, foibles.
I've done that. Anyway,
know,
let's go on.
Humanity.
I'm watch Inside Out. It's, you're sad sometimes.
That's true.
Okay, here we go. First off, this is going to decide it, and let me just say, great work all the way around.
You too. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Spencer.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
And the crew.
Here's question 5 of the speed round. Who's the best pair of buddies in film?
Riggs and Murtaugh.
Coy says Lethal Weapons, Riggs and Murtaugh.
I don't know.
Rocha in 5, 4.
Oh no.
3.
Rocky and the guy from Project Hail Mary, Rocky and Ryan Gosling. Does that count? Can I use
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, they're buddies.
You can
All right.
use it.
All right.
You can use it. Okay, so we have Riggs and Murtaugh and
Rocky and Grace.
Rocky and
Rocky
Grace.
and Grace.
Thank you.
Rocky and Grace. Okay, 30 seconds. Coy, whenever you're ready.
What I love about Lethal Weapon is that buddies don't always get along. Buddies need to learn each other. Buddies need to become family. And what I love about that franchise is it came out in the 80s when racism wasn't talked about in the way it is today, but it's ahead of its time in acknowledging the entire Murtaugh family, Riggs becoming part of the family. While Riggs is the one seen as the outsider, it allows us to feel this buddy bond grow from them both being outsiders in a certain way. And you see their bond grow across 4 films. You see the differences. You see the disparity. They are one person by the end of this franchise, and it's because of the adversity they go through. That's what buddies are like about, and the comedy, the drama, everything they go through is why buddy comedies work. And
30 seconds for Rocha.
Yeah, I mean, Grace and Rocky, what can you say? What you want out of a buddy film is that you want to walk away from it feeling happy, feeling warm, feeling fuzzy, feeling inspired, feeling uplifted. And that's what you get when you watch Grace and Rocky in Project Hail Mary. The interactions, the way they come together, they learn to communicate using different languages. Buddies overcoming these barriers in order to become better friends and then caring for each other. Rocky sacrifices himself for Grace, and Grace sacrifices himself for Rocky in two different moments in the film. And then they end up together on Rocky's planet, and that says something really powerful about their friendship.
I think Lethal Weapon does all of that, but does it over and over again. They sacrifice for each other, they save for each other, but it does it in a way that feels like it's teaching us as humans in a different level. It is giant adversity through age, through race, through the adversity of time, through violence. It's doing a lot of those things. And I also think it's a movie that started a buddy cop genre. It started and changed things in a really beautiful way. It is the ultimate in buddies because we know so much about them. You forgot his name.
I'm going to show you Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. That started the buddy stuff. But listen, when you look at the situation here, Murtaugh is always dealing with Riggs' problems. It is Riggs who's the issue. Riggs who gets him in trouble. Riggs and all those kinds of stuff. Murtaugh has to step up to play constantly, put his family in danger, his daughter in danger. That doesn't happen with Rocky and Grace. They come together, they figure out how to communicate, and they overcome their adversities, overcome the obstacles to work together. And that shows us what buddies can really do.
Woo! All right, some great arguments, great choices. This one is for all the marbles, and by all the marbles, I mean just the pride of having won. Like a bragging right, I guess. But yeah, good work being done here today. Spencer?
Yeah, man. Good stuff. I think I'm gonna have to give this one to Coy. I think that the vagaries of Rocha's argument did it in, like talking about the feeling they give you and learning to overcome obstacles and overcome language barriers. I feel like that's something that happens in a lot of movie relationships, so it wasn't distinct enough, whereas Coy was hitting me with a lot of specifics.
Right on. Eric?
Yeah, I like that they both talked about sort of the journey the characters went on together, but I did like that Coy got sort of hyper-specific with it and sort of took them on the path along the way, so I'm going with Coy.
Yeah, got to agree. Damn. Rocha, I mean, you really, you tied it into the theme of the day well. True. On several times. But Yeah, when I hear that, it's a problem that Riggs is always getting into trouble and Murtaugh has to save him or whatever. Yeah, that can be part of a buddy dynamic. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's the only dynamic.
Rocha, crushing it all day. Coy takes it. Wow.
I forgot how intense this is. That's incredible.
It only occurred to me right at the end, Tony and Cap.
Oh, that would have been again. That would have been like, yeah.
Damn it.
Good call.
Sound off in the comments section. What are the buddies we're not thinking of? What's your favorite pairing in movie history? Coy, congratulations. Well fought.
Good to be
and
back.
man, your motor was going in that scene.
Gosh, dude. Wow.
It's the only place that skill set is useful. It's literally for the last 7 years. I haven't been able to use that one skill. This was so nice.
Nicely done. Please shout out whatever, whoever, and the floor is yours.
I just did a bunch of stuff for Project Hail Mary. I did interviews with everyone. I love this movie so very much. Anything I said against it felt horrible, and I don't agree with it. I don't think anyone else can play it but Ryan Gosling. I don't think anyone else in Drive. So take all those things away. It was for the fight. But I love Project Hail Mary, so check out my junket stuff at Real Rejects. We're doing DC Studios Showcase Season 2, launching very soon. I can't say when legally yet, but soon. And then all the cons and stuff you do, plus my own personal YouTube page. If you like me talking fast, I try to cover all the week's news, and I read 50 to 70 comics a week, and I break them down for you on my YouTube, plus all the movies and TV shows I review every single week. So lots of stuff. I don't like sleep, but I like coffee.
Nicely
and
done.
he's getting buried.
And I'm getting married.
Oh.
My poor fiance has to deal with all of that happening every single day. And I'm getting married in June. She's the best.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Eric.
First of all, great to be back here. This is super fun. Thanks to everyone for all your help today. Yeah, I'm the Eric Goldman on most of my social media. My baby YouTube channel, if you want to subscribe, that'd be wonderful. And my newsletter, Eric Goldman's Cultured Pop. And then I have a podcast called the We Enjoy Podcast. We're just finishing up a James Bond run. We go through sort of different actors, directors, and sometimes some franchise. So if you could listen to that, that'd be great. And that's it.
Great having you, buddy. Thank you, Eric. John Rocha.
Yes, you can find me at The Rocha Says on all social medias. You see there on the screen, I'm sure. But my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Been building that thing up for about 5 years now. Really proud of what we've done here. We've got great shows on there. Co-host with The Hot Mic with Jeff Snyder. The Geek Buddies, my brothers Vogel and Shannon. And I got the Spill the Tequila with Winston and Marshall. I've got Jedi Way with Frank and Kevin there, Kevin Spence as well. And I've got my own podcast that I do with my director friend from LA, Steve Morse. We're doing it for 9.5 years called The Cinephiles, where we break down one film over multiple parts, multiple weeks. We just finished up our 4-part breakdown of A Few Good Men in honor of Rob Reiner's passing. So all these things I'm really proud of that I do, plus my reactions and reviews on my channel as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's a blast, and it was great to be back in the ring again, and thanks to all the crew as well.
Heck yeah, John Rocha in the house. Appreciate it. Spencer, favorite flavor of cobbler?
Oh man, it's Peach's game to lose. Hal. Yeah.
What else you got?
What other? I'm here, man.
Yeah. You can't spoil like an honest trailer in the pipeline that you're excited about.
I will tell you the whole. If anyone's watching at this point, I'll tell you every single thing we have on our calendar.
Oh, shoot.
We got Big Trouble in Little China, that'll be out already. One Piece season 2, Avatar 3, Euphoria, Scream 7. I'm hoping we get to do Project Hail Mary sometime around May when it releases on VOD. But yeah, just keep watching, subscribe, like, comment. Go outside, smile at a child, enjoy a rainbow.
Yes, touch grass. Spencer, thank you, sir. Always awesome to share some time with you, and always awesome to share some time with you. Thanks for watching Movie Fights, everybody. I'm Hal Rudnick, just at Hal Rudnick on all the socials. And for Percival and our great team here, congrats, Coy. See you next time. Hoot, hoot. Bye-bye.